Dad and my amazing mom, because my dad wouldn't be the amazing father in the faith, apostle to the nations without my mom at his side. One of the things that they have taught me is to be ready to minister even when you're walking off the stage and walking up on another one. To just be ready to go with it, no matter where you are, in and out of season, to be ready to shine the love of Jesus to whoever the Lord puts in front of your face. And to be ready to kick the devil in the teeth if he shows up in front of your face. Being tenacious is definitely part of my family. And being born into the ministry means you learn at a really young age that you can't just roll over and die. That you have to keep pressing on. You have to keep fighting for the glory of the Lord. And you have to do it with absolute love. My whole life, my parents have taught me how important it is to forgive, and to love God and to love people. That's what it's about. I remember when I was a teenager in high school, I hated high school. It was really rough because I was a tenacious, all about Jesus kind of person, and I went to a pretty rough high school. And so some people didn't like how much I loved Jesus and how much I loved to talk about Jesus. So they were cruel. And there was one particular kind of leader of the pack in this one season of just cruelty towards me. And I came home from school and I was managing, but it was a struggle. You know, there was like potential violent threats in my face every day and food thrown at me as I walked down the halls and terrible things written about me on the bathroom walls and the yearbooks, forget about the yearbooks. But there was all sorts of this kind of stuff. So I came home from school and I was, not my joyful, happy me. So I went in the backyard. My dad was his downtime was gardening, and we had beautiful roses, curtains of roses, climbing roses in our backyard growing up, and he'd be back there working. So I would come in and chat with him. One great thing about my dad is he is always available and accessible to anyone. And he was that when I was a child, and he is that today, and that's something I so value about him. So I went back there and I started to share with him about these kids at school that were just cruel. And I was, I'm strong. Back then I was a Wyns. I'm still a Wyns in here, but my name says something different. I'm an Enns too. I have been for almost 20 years, so you gotta get used to it eventually. So I started to share with my dad about what was happening at school. And so my dad, in all of his loving wisdom, said, you just need to pray for that girl every single day, the blessings of the Lord, the goodness of the Lord. You need to forgive her, but every time you think about her, just start praying the blessings of the Lord over her. So I did. I did it walking to school, I did it in the bathroom, I did it wherever, because she was on my mind a lot. If someone's threatening to beat you up and throw food at you and all that kind of stuff, it's hard to just not think about it. So I would think about her a lot, and so I would just pray the blessings of the Lord over her all through the day. And I tell you the truth, in 2 weeks, it completely changed. And she started being kind to me. First I was like, okay, wait a minute, you keep your enemies closer than your friends, that whole thing. But I was kind of blessing her, but I just saw a whole transformation. That all of a sudden, instead of hating me and wanting to destroy me, she wanted to be my friend. Wow. And that was the truth of the power of the blessings of the Lord that we put into people's lives, whether they recognize it or not. And my parents taught that to me. And that's such an amazing thing. And it's been such an honor to watch my parents just walk as victorious overcomers and to see the glory of the Lord, the power of the Lord work through them through all of these years that I've been part of the ministry, which is 38 years. And to see how they have impacted the family, like my sisters, she wrote such a nice piece. And it really explains so true that my parents value their ministry to their children first. And as each one of us got married, we don't have this whole daughter-in-law, son-in-law thing. You're just a daughter or a son. You're just part of the family. And how my parents continue to encourage us, and maybe, the whole eagle pushing the eaglets out of the nest thing and making sure you can fight, and they'll catch you before you hit the ground and splat. My parents are like that. They're just like, okay, you have a little gift in preaching. Okay, you're going to go off and start preaching places. Okay, you like to pray. You're going to start a prayer meeting. And they would just support us and strengthen us, but just push us off. And I see that today in our church and across the nations as my dad ministers to pastors across the nation. When people come and say, I feel like God's put this in my heart, he's like, go for it. I will pray for you. I will be your sounding board. I will cover you, but go for it. If the Lord's put it in your heart. And he has such a father's heart. They truly are father and mother to the nations. And they have this father's heart to train and to raise up and then release or kick, nudge a little bit into the purposes of God. And that's such an amazing thing. The Lord has been speaking to me so much lately about this mandate, and Lance talked about it this morning. The thing that's different in this culture today is the anointing for the older and the younger to partner for the purposes of God. And this very week, the Lord has been speaking to me through the book of Ruth, and how Ruth was so determined to connect to Naomi. And we need to be so determined. If the Lord has put you in this house and connected you with Dr. Peter and Joy, you need to be so determined that you're going to stay connected to them. And whatever church that you're part of, whoever is your spiritual father and your spiritual mother, you need to be so determined, like Ruth was to Naomi, that you're going to go where they go. You're going to walk with them in the purposes of God. Because there's an anointing there, and there's favor, and there's blessing. So I just want to encourage you. I could talk all night about how great my parents are and how I am the woman of God that I am today, because how they have taught me and trained me, how they have invested, how they have continued to push me forward to be who I am. It's because of them completely. Hallelujah. They are my parents, but they are my heroes in the faith, and I honor you. Thank you.